take me back a little bit. How did those songs that I mentioned, how did those songs come about? I know that you worked with Lemmy Jackson, you trained under Steve Rhodes, Uncle Steve Rhodes, and stuff like that.
I think,
but those songs were mind-blowing.
Okay, I think what happened was, first, like I said, once you have the passion to go into whatever you decide to go into, in my own case, music came quite early for me. From primary school, in fact, primary school, I used to play with the local group, play congas, and also it's always been music all along. By the time I got into the secondary school, I used to sneak out of the dormitory by Friday night, straight follow somebody and come to Lagos. During that time of Chris Okotie, Felix Liberty, follow somebody and come to Lagos and see if any record company would sign me on. And so I used to do all that. I used to try. So then I tried a few times. By the time I finished my secondary school, the urge to go into music was really, really very strong. But I needed a little bit of further development. So when I came to Lagos, we tried to submit demo tapes to a couple of EMI, a couple of the companies, EMI, Tabansi, that's what everybody was doing. And it didn't quite work out. So I just told myself, maybe I need more proper training to be able to carry on with the things that I want to do. So I spoke to my friends, two of my friends. His name is Victor Ogude and one other late Ifaye. That time I came to my brother's house. I came to stay with my elder brother in Lawanson. So I told him, I said, I saw this man on TV performing, with his group, and that was Uncle Steve Rhodes, the late Uncle Steve Rhodes. I said, I would like to look at this guy and beg him to help me. And they helped me. We walked from Lawanson to Surulere to Census, Babs Animation. That's where Uncle Steve Rhodes' office was. So I went there, we knocked on the door, and they opened. I told him, please, I want to see Uncle Steve Rhodes. The guy that attended to me went and called him. So I waited, and then he came down. So he said, what can I do for you? I said, sir, I want you to show me, teach me. I want to be a singer, I want to be a musician, but I don't know where to start. He looked at me. He said, okay. Can you come back next 2 days? Come so time. And I came. I went back there. Excuse me. And there, that same moment I got there, he started voice training sessions for me on the piano downstairs in his house. And before I knew what was happening, that's how I carried on with Uncle Steve Rhodes until a little over 1 year, learning how to sing. A little over 1 year, he took me to the studio in Abule Jesha. Then we had Richard Cole, we had Jet Nylander, we had Kenneth Okulolo, we had Papado Goldfinger. They were his musicians that were housed in the studio. Abule Jesha is a 3-story building. So he started getting me to rehearse, practice with them. And that's how the journey started. And the very first Olu Aboderin's memorial show, the owner of Punch, was my first performance after my trainings with Uncle Steve Rhodes. That was the first time I met Wumi Aboderin and the whole of the children, because they sang that same day during that concert. They sang the Sound of Music theme music for the theme song for Sound of Music. They performed that, and I was like, they're very good. But a lot of the influences I got from Uncle Steve Rhodes were from Gloria Rhodes. I was always watching her because she was good. She and Janet, they were good singers, understand. So I would listen to them, I would watch them, so I started performing. So I looked at it as I wanted to do more than what they were doing. They were not much interested in recording and releasing music, because Uncle Steve Rhodes always thought that the recording industry was not properly set up, was not organized, and how he is. He's a very organized person. He wants to do things in a certain way, and so. But I wanted more than just performing. So I'm like, what do I do next now? Terracotta just released. Tell me if you know the city called Sodom. Okay, I said, who produced this music? He said, Lemmy Jackson. I loved the production. And it was reggae music. I loved the production it didn't sound Nigerian at all. So I'm like, okay, I need to locate Lemmy Jackson. So I went on top of my brother's cushion chairs. I was making a beat and singing, sang, and I recorded everything with the tape. Then I took it to Lemmy Jackson. On that same Babs Animal Show, that's where Twilight Records had their office. I went there to see Lemmy Jackson. So I went in there and saw him. I told him, this is what I want to do. He said, I have a tape. He said, can I listen to the tape? I gave him the tape and he played it. He knew that it was something I was beating on the chair and singing. So he said, so you sing well. Where have you been? Where have you been singing? How come nobody? I told him, I said, I just finished 1 year of voice training by Uncle Steve Rhodes. He said, oh, okay, no wonder. He said that he was to work on a recording, album recording for Gloria Rhodes, but they haven't been ready for it yet, that he's still on standby for it. I said, oh, okay, that's nice. So he said, there's something I'm going to do. I said, I want you to help me to get into Twilight Records. He said, I would rather sign you on my own label. I said, okay, that's good. I agreed. All of a sudden, we did a contract of 3 years. I came back another day with my elder brother, did 3 years contract. And he was not really very much ready to start to release the songs. So I now ended up following him to the studio. Because by that particular time, Lemmy was producing every hit in the country. Vietnam, all those songs, and so I started following him to the studio every day that he worked in the studio. So that offered me a chance to learn music production. You know why I'm explaining these things? So that because you asked me how did these songs. So there is a way I went about the things I was doing that enabled me to be able to know how to put songs together. That's why I'm coming here. So I started following Lemmy Jackson to the studio every day, whatever he was doing, backup singing I was doing. Then at some point, I now started arranging the songs of artists that he was producing. Fumi Adams' first album. Remember Fumi Adams? I helped her to work on her vocals, worked on the song. I actually wrote one song as little as I was then. Julie Pip, Save Nigeria Today. Nitori. The lady who sang that one? Now, the Batami Adunko. I did all those voices with her. Helped to arrange the songs. Some of the reggae artists, I had to take them to JAPEX studios, arrange the songs, get the Amos McCroy, all the musicians, they will come and practice and everything. We would take the music to the studio, we'll take all of them into this recording studio, lay down the tracks, and then Lemmy would come afterwards to start to do overdubs and cleanups and all this. So I worked with Lemmy Jackson for quite some time. Then at some point, still not forgotten where my focus was. You understand? Because what happens to a lot of people is along the way, a distraction comes, they drop what it is. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to release songs. I wanted to make hit songs. So I told myself, I said, Lemmy is not ready to release my songs. I have to take the next step now. So I first of all prayed. I told God I was going to record another demo tape. This time that I was going to a recording studio, pay the recording studio and play all the instruments. Remember, I've been learning from Lemmy Jackson. So I went to JAPEX, paid one evening so that the session would run into the night where I would not have much distractions from people who come to the studio. Anthony Village here. So I was there. I prayed. I said, Father Almighty, when I make this new demo tape, please, I don't want to walk around, my shoe will bend again, looking for who's going to give me a recording deal. How is it going to work out? So I begged God to help me to make sure that it works out this time around. I get accepted. My demo gets accepted. So I was in that studio, Anthony Village here, recording, playing, just putting the songs. And the sound engineer was Ed Jato. Jato was also a singer. He's the owner of Jato FM. You understand? So he was the sound engineer. So we're recording, and then this guy walked in to see him, also a sound engineer, walked in to say hello to him. So he came. And when he came, he was listening to what I was doing, what I was playing, and what I... Okay, they finished. He later left. The guy went to his office the next day. And guess where his office was? He was the sound engineer for Sony Music, then CBS Music. And he told Chief Mrs. Kenji Okunowo that I saw one guy doing something last night at JAPEX studio. You won't believe it. She said, hey, what sort of... Well, immediately the guy described everything he heard. KG asked him to go and fetch me. So the guy came to Lemmy Jackson's house and saw me there. He said, I'm coming from my office right now. They said I should come and call you. I said, okay. Okay, let me go. So I went straight to CBS then. And she said, can I see the tape of what you were recording yesterday? I brought the tape and she played all of them. Played all the songs and loved all the songs, liked all the songs. I said, but I am under Lemmy Jackson, signed under Lemmy Jackson. We've done 2 years. We haven't recorded yet. It remains 1 more year. He said, can you go and call Lemmy? So I went, called Lemmy, said, this is what's going on. So Lemmy came. They went in to a meeting. They talked, went, blah, 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 and everything. They couldn't make a deal. She felt Lemmy wanted more than, you understand? So Lemmy now said, oh, okay. Then in that case, let me go to Polygram. I'm sure they'll be interested. So the gap opened there. Lemmy went to Polygram. They accepted it straight. So they now called me and said, okay, come. You have a deal here. So first of all, God answered my prayers. You understand? By not letting me walk all over the place looking for who's going to accept all the, after being rejected by all the, you understand? To answer your other question, how the songs were coming, apart from the fact that I have been, trying to get the music thing going, the urge to do it well. Why can't our musicians sound like the foreign ones who we play? Because the people in the radio stations were always playing Michael Jackson and Billy Ocean and all those, you understand? I wanted my music to be played alongside those people. First, I was lucky to have been brought up by my eldest sister and the husband, who grew up, studied in London. So they came back. So speaking English correctly was the order of the day. So before I even went to the secondary school, I was already speaking English because I was learning from them. So that's how I was able to get the words. That's how I was able to know how to pronounce. That's how I was able to know how to express myself in English. You understand? Sounding like them who were teaching me. So it was a whole lot easier then. So we now started with a Polygram, and the first album was good, was okay, but not as powerful as I wanted it to be. If you remember, She's So Pretty, yes. And also, you might want to ask, why pop? Why? First, my upbringing through Uncle Steve Rhodes, Lemmy Jackson have always been the pop. That's one. Two, the radio stations, when they wanted to play Nigerian songs, they play music. There's these programs, one of these programs, Music Nigeriana. Mm-hmm. And you had all the presenters, that's where they play Nigerian music. Everything else was Shalama, Dynasty, Michael Jackson, you understand. And I wanted my music to be played on radio. I said, and then I also looked, because that time in Nigeria, it was all reggae. I didn't quite fit into that whole Rasta, you understand. So I'm like, well, I can do this. So I said, it has to work. So we continued. My first album, people liked it, but one thing was lacking. People liked the songs. In fact, there was a guy I met in Port Harcourt who told me that he told the brother to look for Alex O's record in the US and buy and send to him. So the guy went and checked around, and it was told Alex O is Nigerian. So his name is Francis, one of the top oil company CEOs in Port Harcourt then. He said, I didn't know. That was after we now met. So now, that was one of the reasons why my music sounded a bit pop and foreign. And so we continued. So I needed it to be more danceable. My first album, good songs, good, but it didn't have that killer thing that would drag you to the dance floor to dance. If you remember that time, I'll be good to you, good. You remember all those? I needed
Jones.
Yes, I needed my song, all those Bobby Brown, all those songs. I needed my songs to be as danceable, for the DJs to mix them into the other songs that they're playing. So I needed to craft it. Now I just figured out. Now I told Lemmy Jackson, I said, my second album is coming again. I think you should allow me to put down the whole things I want to do. Then you can come and embellish. And that's what I did. A couple of other things came into place. Disi just finished promoting Shina Peters for CBS. And Polygram just bought him over. And he came in, and it was my work that he found on his table. And he said, this is a guy I was planning to work with in CBS. But somehow it didn't work out. But I'm here now. So he took it upon himself to push. By the time I finished, so I just, before getting to the promo, I went straight to the recording studio with, now, that guy who went to tell CBS has now had, at that particular moment, now become my manager. He's late now. You understand? He now became my manager. He was now managing my affairs, music here and there, shows, everything. And that visit to that studio that night is what unlocked my career eventually. So we now continue to work, together. He was now more like an elder brother to me. And he was controlling all of us, me, including the musicians that were in my band, because we were all young. And if we didn't have such level of control, we might kill ourselves because we were all so young. You can imagine when you had Sammy Okposo, the late Sammy Okposo was the lead keyboardist. Quincy was the second keyboardist. Yinka Davies was one of the singers. You have Big Teddy. You have all the big musicians that started from that band. So we could, wherever we went, we toured, played everywhere in Nigeria. Toured Port Harcourt, Jos, Kano, Maiduguri, everywhere. That's after the second outing came up. So, but before the shows came, before all these whole movements came, we finished the recording, took it to premiere. Disi approved everybody. They said, oh, we like it. We're like, okay, we're going to promote now. Disi took me in his car with his driver, and we drove from Lagos straight to Benin, radio station, TV station, newspaper houses, nightclub, straight to Onitsha, the same runs, circulating the materials and everything, putting all the songs, giving them all the songs, the radio station, to Enugu, from Enugu to Calabar, from Calabar to the whole of the South. That's how we started coming back. Came to Warri, came to Owerri, Aba, circulated everything within 1 week. And within 2 months, we were notified that we had sold about 80,000 copies. So Dean told me, you see. So he also needed to prove a point that he knows how to do the magic. You know the way Shina Peters was promoted. Shina Peters was not promoted as a juju artist. They came up with a different. He was more like a pop artist, and that was why that is it? What's his name? Ace. You saw how far Ace went. Yeah. Even in the East, people who didn't understand what he was saying, everybody was on it. So Disi did the same magic with the maxi single when it was released. So as that one continued going, he said, okay, you need to do the full album. Then I had to go again and now did Do It in the Name of Love. So at the end of the day, it started happening. People started, paying attention to the songs. People loved the songs. The radio stations started playing. They would play, I'll be good to you, good to you, good to you. I'll be la 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 la. They were mixing, and that's what I wanted. So God was on my side too, and we were able to.
Were you making money then?
That's the big question. That wasn't.
You were making money?
That wasn't much money.